In August 2025, the global economic landscape was jolted by a dramatic escalation in trade tensions between two of the world's largest democracies, the United States and India. The catalyst for this upheaval was a sweeping decision by the US administration, led by former President Donald Trump, to impose a striking 50% tariff on Indian exports. This move was not made in isolation, but rather as a pointed response to India's continued imports of Russian oil, a policy the US interpreted as indirect support for Russia's ongoing activities in Ukraine. The fallout from this decision has set the stage for what many analysts now call a full-blown trade war, with ramifications reaching across industries, borders, and political alliances. The immediate impact of the tariffs was felt sharply in India's export sectors. Textiles, seafood, and jewelry, long-standing pillars of Indian trade, were hit hardest. For the millions of workers whose livelihoods depend on these industries, the news was devastating. Factories faced mounting inventories as orders from US retailers dried up overnight. Coastal fishing communities, already grappling with environmental challenges, saw their income slashed as seafood destined for American tables languished at ports. Artisans and jewelers, whose intricate creations have long adorned the shelves of luxury stores in New York and Los Angeles, now confronted the grim reality of dwindling demand and shrinking margins. But the story of India's response is not one of resignation, it is one of resolve. In a rousing Independence Day address, Prime Minister Narendra Modi stood before the nation and outlined a bold strategy of self-reliance. He announced a significant reduction in the goods and services tax, set to take effect in October, aimed at stimulating domestic consumption and cushioning the blow to the economy. This tax cut, Modi emphasized, was not merely an economic maneuver, but a declaration of intent. India would not be cowed by external pressure, but would marshal its own resources to weather the storm. Alongside economic measures, national security was thrust into the spotlight. Modi unveiled the Sudarshan Chakra defense system, a cutting-edge initiative designed to enhance India's military preparedness amid a climate of growing regional tension. The symbolism was unmistakable, a reference to the legendary weapon of Lord Vishnu, now repurposed to signify technological advancement and strategic autonomy. For India, the summer of 2025 brought more than just tariff troubles. The country's merchandise trade deficit widened dramatically in July, reaching $27.35 billion, a significant jump from the $18.78 billion recorded in June. The drivers of this widening gap were clear. Imports surged to $64.59 billion, while exports posted only modest growth, climbing to $37.24 billion. This disparity underscored the vulnerability of India's economy to external shocks, especially at a time when global supply chains are in flux and energy prices remain volatile. Yet, buried within the data was a surprising twist. Shipments to the United States during the April to July period had actually increased by 21.64% year-on-year, totaling $33.53 billion. This paradox speaks to the complexity of global trade, where punitive measures may disrupt some sectors, but other segments continue to find opportunities amid adversity. Indian exporters, faced with mounting tariffs, began to diversify their product lines and seek new niches in the US market, leveraging innovation and agility to maintain a foothold. India's leadership, while resolute in defending the nation's interests, maintained a diplomatic posture. Government spokespeople stressed the importance of mutual respect and shared interests in the India-US relationship. They pointedly highlighted that defense procurements from the United States remained on track, signaling that security cooperation would not be sacrificed on the altar of economic disagreement. Later in the month, a US defense policy team was scheduled to visit New Delhi for high-level talks, underscoring the ongoing complexity of the bilateral relationship, where strategic imperatives often coexist with commercial rivalries. The broader implications of this trade war are profound. For the global economy, the standoff between Washington and New Delhi is a stark reminder of the interconnectedness and fragility of international commerce. Supply chains that span continents now face uncertainty as tariffs disrupt established patterns and force businesses to rethink sourcing, pricing, and logistics. Multinational corporations operating in both countries must navigate a maze of new regulations, while investors weigh the risks of future escalation. For ordinary citizens, the effects are felt at the marketplace. In the United States, consumers accustomed to affordable Indian textiles and seafood may soon encounter higher prices and reduced choices. In India, families whose livelihoods are entwined with export industries brace for tighter budgets and uncertain prospects. The ripple effects extend far beyond the immediate participants, touching economies across Asia, Europe, and Africa. Politically, the trade war has energized national debates in both countries. In the United States, advocates of protectionism hail the tariffs as a necessary measure to defend American interests and pressure India on its energy imports. Critics, however, warn of unintended consequences, including higher costs for US manufacturers and consumers, and the risk of alienating a key strategic partner in Asia. In India, Modi's pivot to self-reliance has sparked renewed interest in domestic industry and innovation. The reduction in GST is seen by many as an opportunity to unleash the potential of India's vast internal market, encouraging entrepreneurship and investment. The unveiling of the Sudarshan Chakra defense system has rallied national pride, with commentators drawing parallels between ancient mythology and modern technology. The escalation between the United States and India is not an isolated episode. It is part of a larger pattern of shifting alliances and strategic recalibrations. As the world grapples with the fallout from the conflict in Ukraine, the race for energy security has taken on new urgency. India's decision to continue importing Russian oil reflects its own calculations of national interest, even as it navigates the demands of global diplomacy. The US response, combining economic pressure with ongoing security cooperation, illustrates the delicate balancing act required in a world where interests often collide. As the dust settles on the first phase of this trade war, the path forward remains uncertain. Both countries have signaled a willingness to continue dialogue even as they prepare for further confrontation. The stakes are high, not just for India and the United States, but for the global community. The decisions made in New Delhi and Washington will shape the future of international trade, security, and cooperation for years to come. In the end, the story of the 2025 India-US trade war is more than a tale of tariffs and deficits. It is a testament to the resilience and ingenuity of nations facing adversity, the complexity of modern geopolitics, and the enduring quest for balance in a world that grows ever more interconnected. As leaders, businesses, and citizens adapt to the new reality, the lessons of this conflict will echo far beyond the headlines, reminding us all that in the arena of global commerce, there are no easy answers, and every action carries consequences.